Yo, what's up, guys? Making a little video here talking about Shaw a little bit more in depth, mostly for my Akatsuki warriors, but anybody can really pick up the same concepts. I'm sure it's probably not too different for all the other melee or any other classes that are capable of cleaving or AoE. Also going to look at a Ginyu strat. Not that I'm trying to alter or change anything that Akatsuki is set on, but I just want people to think about some important stuff as we gear up to kill this boss on Sunday, because we're going to come together, we're going to get it done. Priority number one. So in the spirit of that, I'm actually going to take some extra effort and test my new stream setup here to go through the Shaw kill and go, step by step and see what we're looking at. Shouldn't be as long as the Shaw kill itself. Hopefully I'm a little efficient at explaining this. This here is our fastest kill time on Shaw and Ginyu. As you can see, the splits here. You got warriors on top, followed by mage and rogue, and this is a pretty normal split that you'd see, even in the higher logs. And the reason for this is because the damage that you do to the ads in the last phase actually counts towards your parse. It's the only reason why Zonkid and I are up here, is because of that. Matter of fact, if we look at Dreadspawn, obviously we're on top here. If you look at Shaw himself, I mean, I'm still pretty high, but the rogue overtakes me. To give you an idea of why warrior is coming out on top, though, it's not necessarily the damage that they're doing to the boss itself, but the boss, or the damage it's doing to the ads, excuse me. So why is this? Well, log in real quick. Arms for the entirety of Mop is going to be the king of cleave. Even in Siege of Orgrimmar, when we're going to be playing Fury most of the time, Arms is still going to be pulling ahead on cleave and AoE fights. And the reason is very, very simple. Once we log in here, I think first things first, I want to explain just some basic things. Wrong place. Glyphs I'm running. Glyph of Unending Rage for extra rage cap. Glyph of Bull Rush for extra charge off the extra rage off the charge. And not Glyph of Rude Interruption, but Glyph of Sweeping Strikes. We're investing into things that are going to help us in the ad phase. So even if you don't have like a heroic two-hander, you're going to be running Blade Storm Immune for the single target damage. It's kind of a weird transition because when you're in the first phase, like when you're up here on the platform with Shaw, you're doing the pure single target rotation, even with Blade Storm. I don't have to go into too much detail on how that's done because this is not the most important part of the fight. But, just doing your single target rotation, you're not popping your CDs with Blade Storm here because it would just be a waste. And then we'll get this set up for go down. Should be close to going down there. Okay. So why is Warrior the king of cleave? Looking at the slam tooltip, obviously we're going to be doing extra damage off the just by hitting any target with slam. It does a lot of damage plus weapon damage. You got 10% additional damage if you're hitting it into a Colossus Smash. And while Sweeping Strikes is active, 35% of that damage dealt by slam will also hit all other enemies within 2 yards. So if you're thinking that it's more efficient to attack the ads after the boss is submerged, so like say the boss goes down, you're like, okay, now I can go all in on the ads and pop all my things, you're wrong. The reason is because you're focusing Shaw, you've got your Colossus Smash up, you've got physical vulnerability, you have all the other raid debuffs on it, and you're popping your Synapse Springs, or you've got Shattering Throw up, or there's some other damage amp happening on the boss. So as you're hitting the boss and you got sweeping strikes up and you're just doing your single target rotation, you just have sweeping strikes up, nothing else has changed. You're hitting the adds around it harder. And because now we have more adds up, we can use our CDs in line with Bladestorm, whereas before we were using them in line with just the single target rotation. So like if I'm running in on the boss and it's like surrounded by adds, like I'm gonna be going in, Colossus Smash into Mortal Strike, get my Thunderclap down for deep wounds, activate that, pop all my CDs, and spin. There's a very particular reason for this order. You see I still have some Bloodbath and Wreck left over at the end. That's when like you're re-upping Sweeping Strikes, re-upping Colossus Smash if it's fallen, and then just slamming. Get the rest of that out. Also, anytime that you're blade storming, you're casting Battle Shout, because you can shout while you're blade storming, so that's just more bonus rage. No matter what's happening, even if you're in the middle of like spamming Sweeping Strikes, or slamming the Sweeping Strikes, you're hitting Mortal Strike off cooldown. And this is true no matter what's happening. No matter what is happening in the fight, your Mortal Strike is on cooldown. The second it goes off cooldown, you're hitting it. Even if you have to skip stuff, like, oh, I want to re-up my Colossus Smash, no. Oh, I want to hit Slam in the last second of the Sweeping Strike. No. Mortal Strike off cooldown. No exceptions. That's always the case. The reason for that is because it's steady rage, and it also resets the deep wounds. If you look at almost any log, deep wounds is going to be your #1 damage. So think of Mortal Strike as not only your rage builder, but your #1 source of damage. You're always hitting it off cooldown, no matter what. Of course, Sweeping Strikes isn't free. It costs a lot of rage, so it's going to be more difficult to manage your rage if you're going to be keeping Sweeping Strikes up as often as humanly possible. This is the major reason why we take Glyph of Sweeping Strikes, because just every little bit of rage helps. And of course, Glyph of Bull Rush, because you should be casting Charge with the same urgency that you're casting Mortal Strike, assuming you don't have to use it for mobility. We're lucky on Shaw because the way that bonus rage is calculated is that depending on how far away you are from the boss's center of hitbox. Well, Shaw is huge, so even if you're like in just right on him in melee range, you're getting the maximum rage off every single charge, every single time, and that's why it's easier on Shaw to manage the rage. So again, you're keeping your Sweeping Strikes up as often as you can, assuming that the adds are on top of you and if they're being kited properly. We'll go over to the stream here and take a look. Assuming that they're being kited properly, you're going to have plenty of opportunity. So here with the boss, because this just started the phase, doing my normal rotation, I'm holding all of my cooldowns. Not hitting anything yet. And everybody else is also holding everything. First submerge happens. Okay. Boss is going to come up. We're going to keep just lightly tapping it, lightly tapping it. Huddle is going to go out. Now in Ginyu, we don't do the thing where, at least as far as I'm aware, we do not do the thing where we are throwing the ball or the orb to the huddle targets to break them out. We do not do that. We just wait for it to fall off. As soon as it falls off, we send Lust. This is where we pop everything. Because we're still single targeting here, I'm just doing my single target opener. So I'm popping Bloodbath with my Colossus Smash and then Mortal Strike and then Slam Spam. I've also potted. Like I've dumped everything. I've got the macro that lumps in Bloodbath, Synapse Spring, Semi-Racial. So I send everything. I even popped Wreck here. Now the ads come in, and maybe you've noticed that I pop Sweeping Strikes to get that initial damage in, and it's dead before the boss is fully up from the next submerge. That single ad is not too big of a deal. Now we keep going here. You can see how I'm casting Mortal Strike immediately as soon as it's off. Overpowering. I'm holding Bladestorm. Because now what we're setting up for is this rotation where every single time a new ad pack comes, Bloodbath and Bladestorm are going to be off cooldown together. So this is where we start investing heavily into the AoE. When the ads come in, as soon as they're within range of my Thunderclap, I send it. just so I can get that deep wounds up on all of them immediately and I could start ticking. I will periodically re-up the thunderclap just to make sure everyone's still got deep wounds up on them. And of course, popping my deep wounds, just kind of leaving them. The whole like philosophy of cleave as opposed to AoE is that you have a focus target that you're just clapping. And you're clapping it so hard that damage is falling off and just hitting other things. Happenstance, right? That's what's great about sweeping strikes is that you can basically just do your single target rotation and you're going to be clapping everything in a 2-yard radius. That's the whole point. So now that I got they're getting closer in here, I do my bloodbath into my blade storm. It does a ton of damage, right? So now we're in this rotation where every 2 blade storms, you're gonna have you're gonna have 1 blade storm that you use your bloodbath on. The second blade storm is just gonna be bloodbath. Synapse springs, the cooldown macro that I got here. And then on the 3rd blade storm, you're gonna have wreck with it too. So every 3rd blade storm, you're gonna have recklessness. You're obviously sending wreck with blade storm because it's just so money. As soon as the ads are connected, I got my thunderclap down, sweeping strikes engaged. I'm slamming as often as I can, trying not to rage starve myself. Sometimes I make a mistake and it happens, but it just is what it is. I waited there a couple globals so that I had more rage to sweeping strikes and immediately cast a slam. So the priority here, and I just bloodbathed and bladestormed wreck again. These ads are melting. And it's not just me here. I mean, everybody's kind of working together to do this, but that's the key, is that you're constantly doing something to hit the ads. And if everybody's doing that, not just the warriors, but if almost everybody's doing that, then they die before the submerge happens. Even if you have 4 or 5 targets, it's going to happen that way. Now, this is not the clear. This is our wipe from the other night, but the first half of it was extremely clean. It's just our kill is just this, rinse and repeat until it's dead. And again, you see, even with the ads starting to grow in number, they're already at half health here. And I'm always inching myself closer so that I can keep that sweeping strikes in range and that I can keep thunderclapping and resetting with deep wounds. And this, that is how it's done. If you are a class, and I'm sure at this point, it's only the warriors left watching. Nobody else is watching this shit. But if you are another class, like a rogue perhaps, that excels in single target, your job on this fight is to stay on the boss. Don't spread your poisons. Don't do something you shouldn't do. If you're a single target focused class, do that. Because the boss has so much health. Your role is to damage the boss. Now, if a submerge happens and there's ads up, obviously attack the ads because there's nothing else to attack. But just so you know that you have a role in the raid, it's not necessarily AoEing because your class is not great at it, so just focus to what you're good at. Everybody else who's capable of cleave should be focused on doing that. But, I mean, that's pretty much it. You can see examples of my weak auras here. If you're interested in what any of these add-ons of weak auras do, you can hit me up. This rage bar I made myself. I had to send a copy to Bear because he asked me earlier. And then I just got tell me when down here so that I can track my procs, my enrage, and all that. If anybody has any questions after that, I hope that I went into it in depth enough that it makes sense. And that it's very clear what your role is. You do not need insane gear to do numbers like this. You can see down at the damage meter here that only reason I'm starting to pull ahead here is because I've had 3, 4, 5 rotations where I can just pad the ads. And that's like one of my biggest strengths is padding ads. Luckily, they actually count for the parse in this fight, so you actually have an incentive to do it. Even with no gear, your class is built for this encounter. So just stick it in there, or get stuck in, hang in there, practice the rotation. Either in dungeons or training dummy, something. Just get the rage management down, get the debuff uptimes down, and you're solid. You can make it work. Anybody else has any questions? If you're for some reason not a warrior who's made it this far in the video, if you have any questions about the pull itself or anything else that happened on screen as I was explaining, just hit me up. That's it. Thanks, guys. Shaw dies on Sunday.